Hi everybody, Frank Gambale here again for this free lesson. I want to talk a little bit more about harmony and theory. I'm very passionate about that because I think it's the way forward for everybody. You know, we have a lot of holes in our understanding. When you get a little bit of information here and there in a book and a video and a little lick from this guy, and you know, it's really fragmented. And that's part of the problem, you know, it's hard to make sense of it all. It needs to be learned in a very logical and organized manner. Otherwise, you don't really get the deep understanding that you need to move forward in your playing. So, part of what I'm going to show you today in this free lesson is a little bit of what I call chord construction harmony. You need to know this stuff because you know, a lot of people learn chord shapes by memory, you know, and that's all well and good, but unless you really understand why is the chord shape that shape? Why? Have you ever stopped to wonder why is it that shape? Well, you have to go one step deeper and learn the theory of chord construction and what notes are required to make a certain chord. For example, every major chord, everybody knows what a triad is, right? Everybody knows a major chord. What is an E triad? Well, the formula is the first and third and fifth notes of the scale all together, right? 1, 3, 5. But that's why I always say you got to know your intervals, right? Here's your intervals for a major scale of E. So if I put this note, the first and the third and the fifth one together, there's my basic E triad, right? So don't be deceived by when you see a big block E chord like this. Really, what have we got going on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got the fifth, 6, 7 root. Okay, we got a repeat here in the E. 1, 2, 3. Well, there's the third. 4, 5, 6, 7 root. So we got a 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. Okay, it's still just 1, 3, 5, right? Same with these kind of block bar chords. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root. We're back to 1. So this just like gives you a 1, 5, 1 basis for this chord. There's the third. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See how logical these shapes are? Once you start looking at the intervals. So 1, 2, here's another voicing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. This is like the C chord, really. The C is here. E, E. Very few guitar players play E like this. A lot of guys play this one, a lot of guys play that one. But almost nobody plays this one, or rarely do I see that one being used. Why not? It sort of fills the gap between these block chords, right? It's really just a C chord. We all know open C, but we rarely use it anyplace else. So this is the kind of understanding that comes through learning harmony. Learning theory. It's valuable when you start to apply it on the guitar directly. You know, the scale has numbers, and those numbers are there for a reason because they help us figure out what chords are. If I want a major 7 chord, for example, I know the formula for a major 7 is 1, 3, 5, and 7. So the first, third, fifth, and seventh note of the scale all sounding together. So let's have a look at that. 1, 2, 3. So those two together. 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's a major 7 chord. Beautiful major 7 voicing. 1, 3. This would be called a 1, 3, 5, 7 voicing because that's how the notes unfold, right? So if I take another E, let's take this one up here and play, if you know your scale up here in intervals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's your typical major 7 voicing for E. Right there, plain and simple. And that gives the shape logic, right? It there's a reason it's that shape. Because if you know your fretboard and you've learned your intervals of the scale, you know that that's how they're going to unfold. A lot of people know this voicing for a major 7. Now, this is a different voicing for a major 7, but let's figure out what it is. It's a 1. We know that that's a 5th, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7. So it's 1, 5, 7. And often on guitar, we put the 3rd on the top because it just makes it playable. We can't always play 1, 3, 5, 7s, depending on the chord. So we often put the 3rd in the 2nd octave. So this would be a 1, 5, 7, 3 voicing for a major 7. And here's another one, 1, 5, 7, 3. A lot of people know this one. Right? So if you looked at the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is the same as the 3rd. And that makes the shape make sense. If I wanted a 9th chord, I know 9th is 1, 3, 5, flat 7, and 9 of the scale. So everybody knows the shape, but what is it? Why is it this shape? Well, let's have a look and compare it with the intervals. We know we have a root, 1, 2, 3, there's the 3rd. Whoop, we've skipped the 5, it must be somewhere else in the there's the flat 7, right? So that's the basis of this chord, 1, 3, flat 7. Then we're back to the root. This is the 9th note from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 10, 11, 12 is the same as 5 in the lower octave. So guitar players often play it like this. 1, 3, flat 7, 9, 5. And that's the formula. 1, 3, 5, flat 7, 9. And it makes perfect sense. Now we can't always play the 5, so sometimes we leave it out. 1, 3, flat 7, 9 is quite a common voicing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, flat 7 from the major 7, flat 7, root 9. So that shape has logic to it. And if you learn the formulas, of course they apply to every key. The reason I prefer numbers to notes is that it does apply to every key. Formula always is the same. What changes actually is just the notes. So if I'm in a different key, even if I'm a G9, it's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, and 9. Formula stays the same. The notes here are G, B, F, and A, whereas here they're E, G sharp, D, and F sharp, right? Formula stays the same, notes change. That's why it's much faster learning the intervals. And chord construction is deeply essential to understanding your fretboard. And that's what I try to do all the time. I'm trying to help you guys figure it out and make sense of all this stuff, because guitar, you know, can be very convoluted. I really want to help you guys figure it out. And in my Harmony and Theory course called Peace and Harmony, I want you to come to peace with this. Peace and harmony, the theory of creativity, because I do find that it helps me be creative. So that's what we got for today. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you got some valuable information out of this little lesson. Thanks for being here at frankgambaleguitarschool.com. We'll see you soon. Check out Peace and Harmony, the Theory of Creativity. This is Frank saying, see you later, guys. Bye-bye.